What's up, guys? How you doing today? Back in action. We had a great event in San Francisco. So many amazing people came in. For anyone who's there, thank you for joining and thank you for all your energy. It was just awesome. So much fire, so much knowledge. Really excited about that. And I spent the Monday and Tuesday at another conference learning about founders and scaling your business, and it was great. And I'm finally coming back up with a little bit of energy back now. So hopefully I can get these videos up and running and the audio for everyone out there listening. Today's topic, what I want to discuss is a conversation or a presentation I saw on Tuesday, and it was by a guy named Alex Tew, T-E-W. I'll put his Twitter below. And he founded an app called Calm, which is a meditation app that has since become very, very popular, millions of dollars in revenue. And his presentation was all about creating viral pre-launch products that feed into getting users before you actually launch your main product. Okay? He, just for historical sense, he created the $1 million homepage, if you remember that, where you can buy a pixel for $1. Incredible story, right? Like OG internet marketing. And now he has Calm, which is one of his products. And he talked a lot about how instead of launching Calm and sending users directly into Calm, he asked himself, what could we launch that could potentially go much more viral, to much more lightweight product that could collect massive amounts of emails, pixel massive amounts of people with Facebook's pixel, Google's retargeting pixel, everything like that, to get all this seed data that you could then send to your main app. Because I think a lot of people, when they launch their app, the typical life cycle of an app entrepreneur is you spend all this time and energy getting your app to the goal line, you launch it, and then you hope the algorithm does its work, right? And then hopefully you update your app 3 or 4 times, you start doing some marketing on it, and it's kind of this slow ramp up. But if you look at any great launch strategist on the internet, I think the top person is Jeff Walker with the Product Launch Formula. I'll put a link below for Jeff's book, it's awesome. I think what they always talk about is how do you get a pre-launch going? How do you get people excited about your app or your product before you launch it? And the key to that is you need people. And so what Alex's presentation talked a lot about is getting this seed list before your big launch. And here's how he does it. He will create a website or a web app, right? A very like HTML5, something that's very easy to use, that is extremely viral, right? That has something that's very catchy. Well, it uses puns in the title, and it's just something that's it's funny, but it's also, you can do something with it, right? And he gave a few examples, but for Calm, what he did was he released a website called Do Nothing for 2 minutes, where you would go to the website. I'll see if I can find the link, if it's still live. And you just look at the website for 2 minutes. And if you move your mouse or if you touch your keyboard, the whole thing resets. And you're just looking at a sunset. And the idea is, can you just sit there for 2 minutes? Which is kind of hilarious, right? But it went viral. Millions and millions of people went to the site, shared it on Facebook and Twitter and all the networks, got lots of publicity about it. And it took his team like less than a day to build this, versus Calm, which took months and months and months and thousands of dollars and all this energy, right? So they've launched this website, and they get millions of people to come. They can pixel them with a retargeting pixel on Facebook, and then they also could collect email addresses, where it says like, hey, if you want to learn more about meditation or whatever the language was. And they collected, I think, about 100,000 email addresses. Those email addresses then became the pre-launch seed list that they could use to launch Calm and get things kick-started, to really put Calm on the map and to get a lot of user data, to get a lot of downloads very quickly, to learn about the product and to get feedback, and to just, it accelerates their progress by huge magnitude. And he has a couple other examples of different products. They're not apps, so they're not quite as relevant. But what it made me realize is that we focus so much on the app and launching the app and expecting users to come in and see the app, and we have to get that right. We have to not only get them in the app, we have to get them to like the app, we have to get them to spend money, to collect marketing, all that sort of thing. When in reality, if you break apart the launch process into a pre-launch activity and then your app, and you just collect the marketing here, and then you promote the app on the right, secondary, you could potentially go much bigger, right? Like, you have lightweight products are much easier to go viral, right? They're easier. The psychology of that is they're easier to share. It doesn't take much to wrap your mind around it, and simpler things get shared more often because it makes more sense, right? It's easier to share simple products. And so for anyone out there who has a product that is very specific, or not very specific, but just has a core demographic, which if anyone who was at the event knows, this is the direction of the app business. This is actually the direction of Bluecloud going, where we're going to focus on this idea of not only the app business strength system, but how do you find your customer? How do you get in front of your customer? How do you convert that customer into a download? And then how do you keep that customer and make them really, really happy? And this is all about, you got to have an app that has a strong customer. You got to have a unique customer. I think this would be very difficult to do with a generic game, right? As is most marketing, because there's no specific person. But if you have a very clear app with a very clear customer avatar, all of a sudden you can start thinking about what are some really, really simple, potentially viral things that I could make for this. What is something that I could build in a day if I had a web developer that's not an app, that's just a website or a little quiz that you can do or whatever on the website that's pretty funny, that's definitely got some viral legs that people would share if the right people saw it. Now, obviously, this is not a guaranteed method. There's a fair amount of unknowns. Not everything goes viral, obviously. So can't promise anything on this. But if it does work, it gives you huge leverage going into your app launch. And if you have an app, you can think about doing something like this, where you create a secondary mini product that can go viral, collect emails, whatever, and then you promote your app to control your marketing. You essentially become your own publisher at that point. And if anyone who knows me knows that, like, my favorite thing in the world is when you control supply and demand. I mean, that's when business is really the sweet spot. So I thought that was a really interesting idea. Like I said, I'll link to Alex's stuff below. Alex, if you ever see this, I would love to get you on the podcast. I'm going to hit you up and hopefully we can get you, because I think that what you're doing is really cool. I think Calman is an amazing app. And I thought this was just a really great way, low-cost way to potentially get huge amounts of pre-launch users, traffic, marketing materials. So thanks so much for watching or for listening. I hope this has been helpful, and I will see you guys soon. Peace out.